19 stories in this book, and we're going to be reading from it throughout the year.
Hi everyone, it's the Book Cougars, two middle-aged women on the hunt for a good read. I'm Emily.
And I'm Chris. And Happy New Year again.
Yes.
You know, we're going to say that all throughout January because we can. 2025.
I love January. My birthday happens to fall in January, and I love a fresh start.
Yes.
It's been an interesting start here in the United States, and we're going to focus on books and reading and our bookish community.
Yes, as we do. You know, it's been a good reading year. It's off to a good reading year. We just recorded episode 226 yesterday of the podcast, so that'll be coming out this coming Tuesday. And, you know, we did a bit of a catch-up because our last episode was our annual episode with booktuber Russell of Ink and Paper blog, and so we didn't record a regular episode. So we had a lot of reading to catch up on. So
a lot of books.
We're not going to rehash that as much as I still want to talk about some of those books. We're going to talk about what we're currently reading, and then some books that have come in to Book Cougars headquarters recently.
Yeah. You want me to go first?
Sure.
This is really exciting to me. It's a new mystery series. I mean, new-ish. This one came out in 2020. Fortune Favors the Dead by Stephen Spotswood. And he wrote this during the pandemic. It came out, as I said, in 2020. And then he has other books in the series, which I will share with you. Okay. Well, I want to show something. So this is referred to now as the Pentecost and Parker series. And what I love is at the very beginning, there's a list of the characters that are appearing in this particular novel. Like I said, it's a mystery series, kind of in the noir vein. This one takes place in 1945. And I'll just read you the 2 stars of every one of the books. Willa Jean Parker, the circus-trained right-hand woman of Lillian Pentecost, learning the highs and lows of being a working detective. And then Lillian Pentecost, New York City's preeminent lady gumshoe, not as steady on her feet as she used to be, but it's her steel trap of a mind you need to watch out for.
Nice. Like that.
And then there's other characters that are in the novel. And he lives in D.C. with his wife, Jessica Spotswood, who is a young adult author. And he's a writer. He has a history of writing about veterans, and particularly in the Afghanistan and Iraq wars, I believe. So an interesting writer that you might be able to find some of his nonfiction writing out there as well, but has done really well with this series. The debut won the Nero Award.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's the first book in the series. And then Murder Under Her Skin.
Nice.
Yes.
I love that.
This has a little circus theme because, as we heard, the sidekick has a history in circus. And this novel, I believe, takes place with something to do with a tattooed woman.
Look at that.
Yeah. Murder Crossed Her Mind is the 3rd book in the series. Look at that.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I believe these are reissues because when I looked up the first book in the series, the cover was very different at the beginning. So when they put them out in paperback, they did different covers. Secrets Typed in Blood. Ooh, look at that old-fashioned typewriter dripping. And then the next book in the series is coming out on February 4th. Dead in the Frame. Look at that.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm really excited to dig into this series. I started the first book, and the first sentence caught me right away. Should I read it?
Sure.
Yeah. I was like, oh, there's no turning back now. Chapter 1. The first time I met Lillian Pentecost, I nearly caved her skull in with a piece of lead pipe.
God.
I was like, okay, do tell. So this is the Pentecost and Parker series. I'm really excited to dig in, and I will keep you abreast of my progress.
Nice.
Yes.
You think you're going to read them all in a row, or kind of sprinkle them throughout the year?
I don't know. We'll see. I think it depends on. My guess is he doesn't really leave you hanging, like the story finishes.
Okay.
But I don't know. Let us know if you've read it. I'd be curious to know. I actually did look up the first one, and our buddy Jenny Colvin from Reading Envy, who sadly passed away, read the first in the series and enjoyed it.
Nice.
So that gave me even more excitement, enthusiasm to get started on it.
Well, I'm still reading A New Home Who'll Follow by Carolyn Kirkland. This is a book that was published in 1837. It's about her experiences being a homesteader in Michigan, rural Michigan. It was the frontier at that time. So more to come on that one. I finished it. I'm really enjoying it, but I've gotten kind of waylaid by other projects here and there, but I'm reading a chapter a day, and they're short chapters, so it works out really well.
Well, this is a book that we heard about from our listener, Anne. We're focusing on ghost stories this year, and she said, you should really check this out. It's about a haunted theater. And Edward Carey is the husband of Elizabeth McCracken, and her memoir was one of the books that was in my top 10 from last year. He is British, and during the pandemic, he was missing his hometown, Norwich, England, and he has a lot of theater friends there. He grew up going to the theater and around the theater, and so he was in the middle of another novel and decided to change gears and write about a theater since he was missing it so much. Edith Haller. And what's really interesting about this book, at the very end in his acknowledgments, he said, you may notice that many of the illustrations in this novel are designed as elements of an antique card theater, and it is actually possible to cut the pages of this novel out and use them to construct a toy theater, if you're so inclined. Wow. But then he said, I'll show you some examples. Like, here's the page with a theater, like a box theater you can cut out.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that so cool? And then here's this, look at the cover. And then look at this page. And he does all the illustrations, by the way. I guess he's known for that. And this is my first experience with his novels. And it says cut out in the middle, so her mouth is open. If you don't want to cut your book up, there is a link to his website where he has all of the images, and you can download those and print them and do a theater that way. Nice. Isn't that such a cool idea?
Yeah.
So we'll put that link down below so you can take a peek at it. I'm really interested to read one of his works. I've read about him in the past. I know of him. He also has a young adult series that's very popular. I can't remember what it's called. Let's see if I can. The Ironmonger Trilogy. Yeah. So, nice. Edward Carey.
Nice. I just want to quickly show two books that we received finished copies of. We've talked about these before. This is one I actually pre-ordered, the Margaret Fuller Collected Writings from the Library of America. It's a really nice edition. They always do quality work. These books are made to last. And I will be looking for buddies to read some of these things with me, particularly her Summer on the Lakes in 1843, and then Women in the 19th Century are two that I would like to read with other people. So it's available to pre-order now. It's coming out in early February. And then thank you so much to the publisher, Mary Sue Rucci?
Yeah, I think so.
Mary Sue Rucci Books. They sent us a finished copy of Rebecca Romney's forthcoming nonfiction book, Jane Austen's Bookshelf. And this will probably be required reading, fulfilling required reading, not like school required reading, for all Jane Austen fans, because what Romney does is she looks at the women writers and books that inspired Jane Austen's writing. And throughout, she also sprinkles her own experience being a book collector and a Jane Austen fan, and exploring some of these earlier women writers. So
it'll make a TBR list as you're reading it, I imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's great. And I'm loving it. I have been reading The Ark. It's really good. Yeah. And then one more thing. This is an interesting book. I don't think we've ever received a book of photographs, have we? Or photography book?
Not that I can remember.
This is Hunters in High Heels. It's by musician Omar Rodriguez Lopez. it came out in January from Akashic Books, and thank you to them for sending us this review copy. And it is photographs that Omar has taken throughout his touring. He's a photographer, and he, I guess, always has a camera in his hand. So there's some really cool, everything from like landscape shots to, the people who are flying him places, and I guess some black and white, some color. I've enjoyed flipping through it. Well, that's kind of a disturbing photo. I don't know his music, although I have listened to a few songs. But some of the stuff is pretty cool. Like I love seeing artists' spaces, where they do their creativity. So really interesting. So thank you again, Akashics, for sending this to us. And if anybody is a fan of his music, let us know, like, what some of your favorite songs or albums are that we should check out, because I do like to listen to different music. I was really into music as a younger person and then kind of fell off it for a while. So I am an Apple iTunes subscriber. Yeah. Apple Music now, I think it's called. And every now and then I'll listen to things that I would never listen to. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so his music is the latest.
I think these are interesting. I have this thing about private planes. Like, it'd be so cool to just try it one time. Like bypass all of the airport stuff and walk out on the tarmac and get in a fancy plane. Yeah. I mean, these don't necessarily look fancy, I can't tell, but that's a really cool shot. I like that a lot.
It is, totally. And so I just noticed on the back, too, these are photographs between 2001 and 2005.
And then that looks like kind of a self-portrait photograph. I was wondering if there were any of actually him in there, since he's taking all of them.
More about that, if you're interested, let us know. We'll answer any questions you have about this book. And I think that's all for today.
Yeah, let us know what you're reading. We would love to know. And if you've dug into any ghost stories that look, like Edith Haller or something like that, let us know. We're both going to be starting our Haunting of Hill House reading in the next couple of weeks.
Yes. Oh, you want to show them the ghost story too? So we have this collection of ghost stories, of Penguin Classics of ghost stories. There are 19 stories in this book. And we're going to be reading from it throughout the year, one story per episode, except for episodes where we discuss our quarterly read-along book. So we do have a schedule lined out. It may change, but we're hoping it won't, because we do like to stick to a schedule, because it's so helpful, because you get more reading done, right?
Right.
So we'll put a link to our Goodreads thread that has the reading schedule if you're interested in reading along with us.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Happy reading.